for some fantasy football, week 10, and D Nasty is back. Dave, well, with the time change and everything, we're a little earlier than normal, and it looks like the Chargers just scored again, my friend, 27-6. I'm glad I laid the points with the Chargers a long time ago, but it just looks like the Jets can't get much offense going.
No, that's been their problem all year too. Zach Wilson's definitely not the answer. He hasn't turned the ball over much until tonight, but the last couple games he's been pretty solid. But tonight he had a couple fumbles though, so back to his turnover-prone ways again. But yeah, the Chargers are definitely the better team on offense, though, as you can see tonight.
Yep. They're better at all times than the Jets. It's not just tonight.
Yeah.
It's the Jets are just bad in offense, and their offensive line's banged up too. So a lot of people say, "Oh, if they only had Aaron Rodgers," well, their offensive line sucks, and that's a problem. It's going to be a problem for the Jets throughout the rest of the season. Once the Chargers scored first, it was probably a good live betting scenario where you go with the Chargers. Now they're up 27-6. It's just Jets can't play from behind. They're terrible at throwing the ball. And, Wilson hits a few, but he's usually just getting sacked and incompletes and just that kind of thing. But either way, we're rolling into week 10. We have some bye weeks, Dave, don't we? Don't we have some big ones?
We do have some big ones this week. The first one off the bat is going to be the Chiefs. So get all those Chiefs on your bench. The big one's going to be Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Those are two big guys that are going to be on bye this week. So that's going to hurt a lot of teams.
Pacheco for sure. Pacheco
too. Yep. And then,
but what's funny, it's like we're not even mentioning a Chiefs receiver. Isn't that weird? It's like, who cares? I mean, Valdez-Scantling, Tony, seriously.
And then Rice, maybe he's been coming out.
Maybe Rice, but that's it. I wouldn't start Rice.
No, I wouldn't start any of the receivers right now on that team either. And McCarl Harmon, after the trade, I thought he was going to do a little something, but they haven't really called his name yet either. So yeah, I'm not really starting any Chiefs receivers right now. Pat Mahomes is the big guy, and Kelce. Those are the two main guys. The Rams, you got the two nice. You got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. You're not really starting Stanford right now because he's hurt. And then the running backs, that's just a mess then too. Maybe Henderson, that's their starting running back right now, but that's just a big mess too. So you're really not starting any of those running backs. Dolphins, that's a huge one. Tua is on by this week. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. So those are some big names out there that you're going to be on your bench. So
don't forget Mostert, Dave. Come on now.
Actually, I did on purpose.
I knew you did.
So, anyways, those are some big ones. And Mostert, too. He's actually been playing well. I haven't really heard from much of Mostert the last couple of weeks, though, but he did have a few.
You got a touchdown last week. You got a touchdown.
Yeah, a touchdown, but that was all you got for fantasy last week, though. He didn't get you much yardage, though. So
it was just a weird game in Germany, man. 14 points. They're down 21-0 at half, and 7 points was the defense, and it's just a bad fantasy game, really, in general.
It was, yeah. Pat Mahomes.
I started, and I benched Tua for CJ Stroud, so that was not a bad idea.
Wow. I lost against CJ Stroud in one of my big money leagues too. So, and he had Tank Dell too that he decided to put in at the last minute. So, yeah, I did not.
That'll do it. Double whammy right there.
Oh yeah, and I had CJ Stroud in that league until 2 weeks ago, and I dropped him. So yeah,
brutal.
That guy Stroud was pissed that I dropped him a couple weeks ago, so he came back and haunted me.
Yeah, he did. He knew it was you.
Exactly. He's like, screw you, Dave. I'm coming back and dropping 50 on you.
All right. Then we have the Eagles.
Eagles, yes, another big one. And there's a big injury, too, that we'll get into here shortly for the Eagles as well. A couple injuries on the Eagles. But, yeah, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, maybe possibly Kenneth Gainwell or DeAndre Swift, but you're probably not starting either one of them. But, yeah, definitely the two starting receivers and Hurts, those are huge losses this week for people on bye.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And get pivoting right into the key injuries. I mean, you just said it. Dallas Goedert broke his forearm. He's probably out 6 to 8, I think. I know there's some people said 4 to 6, but it's a broken bone. No reason to rush him back. Keep him for the playoffs or just maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks before and get him going there. That's what I say. And, there's another tight end that you can pick up off waivers we'll get into as well. But Josh Palmer didn't get hurt last week, but he was put on IR, just put on IR today. So I'm like, okay, well, that'll be backdated. So he's going to miss 3 more games. So I thought I'd mention that one as well. Too bad
Yeah,
for
it's a very
Palmer.
good one actually. Palmer's been playing really well too, and I had him on a couple leagues. So I was kind of shocked when they put him on IR that he was possibly going to play this week. And he played through it last week, but you could tell he wasn't right. So,
Yeah.
and then Jalen Hurts actually too is his knee after getting hit by Micah Parsons before halftime limped to the sideline, so his knee still bothered him. But the bye week he should be good to go after the bye week. But it's apparently just a bruise he suffered earlier this year.
Right. Right. Christian Watson had a concussion, and he might play next week. John Mechie left with a rib injury, so just better for guys like Tank Dell, which we'll get into. Josh Downs went on got a knee injury as well. Daniel Jones tore his ACL and is out for the season. That's brutal for Giants people because Tyrod Taylor just went on the IR for a while. I don't know what happened to Tyrod. What was his ankle or knee or something? I don't know what happened to him, but
His ankle, yeah.
yeah, it was his ankle. Okay, he went. So
Actually, rib issue. I'm sorry, it was the ribs. It was his ribs.
it must have been broken because if you don't go on IR
Yeah,
without for
it was a rib
ribs,
issue. I'm reading it right here. Actually, he was sidelined on injury reserve with a rib issue.
what's interesting is they just have no quarterback now.
No,
Um,
Tommy
yeah,
DeVito is not going to be the guy for them going. They're
he wasn't that good in college. I mean, he was okay in college, but he wasn't. Yeah, Tommy DeVito with a terrible offensive line. Jeez, the Giants are just in shambles this year. Freaking shambles.
They're saying Matt Barkley might actually play this week, though. Now they're saying Matt Barkley might put him off the practice squad and start.
I agree with him. I think Matt Barkley is better than him. Yeah, I think
I would agree. Matt Barkley's got some experience too, actually. Which
yeah, he played
well
in the Bears a little bit. I've seen him play. It is okay. DJ Dallas left with a shoulder injury from the Seahawks, and Cam Akers tore his Achilles. And that's bad for the Vikings. I mean, he was the second guy really behind Madison, but he had plenty of carries, so that's not good. Dave, what am I missing from injuries?
Jaron Hall actually left the game with a concussion, and then Joshua Dobbs came in and actually took over and won the game for him, which I was pretty shocked. Cordell Patterson left with an ankle injury as well, but he hasn't been playing that much. Another Vikings injury, KJ Osborne is in concussion protocol as well after taking a nasty hit. He was able to walk off the field, but he definitely wasn't right. And then kicker Kai Farbar, I probably butchered that name. He actually left the game too with a quad injury, and the old Badger Dare was able to kick a
Ogumbawale, baby.
Yeah, he's actually able to kick
Dare Ogumbawale. Some people say Dare. It's Dare actually, but Dare Ogumbawale actually kicked a field goal, and I was like, "What?" It was awesome.
That is awesome. It was awesome to see.
He kicked out through the end zone too.
I know. That's pretty sweet. So yeah,
keep that guy around. Keep him around.
Yeah, keep him around. You might so bench that kicker this week because Firebarn is actually going to be out this week possibly. So you definitely need to look for a new kicker, which are a dime a dozen, but definitely want to keep that in mind when you're setting your lineups.
For sure. Why don't you get in a waiver wire?
Sounds good. Waiver wire is kind of a little bit light this week, but we do have some of the guys to pick up. The first one is going to be for the injury to Dallas Goedert. There's 2 tight ends you could possibly pick up for him. The first one is going to be Jack Stoll, and then Albert. I'm going to butcher this name as well. Ugobam. I'm not even sure how to say it. But Albert and Jack Stoll are the 2 guys to pick up. I think Jack Stoll will get most of the catches probably, but they actually traded for Albert this past year, and he came in on training camp, so he might be more of the receiving type, and Stoll might be more of the blocker type tight end for them.
I think Stoll's a guy that's going to get some passes too. Albert Okwuegbunam. This is like Okwuegbunam. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. I can't wait till the announcers have to say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, just for that name, he shouldn't be allowed to play. Come on here. Just put him Albert OK because it starts with OK.
I like that.
Albert OK.
We're gonna call him Albert OK from now on.
I like it. Let's do OK.
Baker Mayfield, who I talked about last week, and you were kind of down on him, but Baker Mayfield this past week, 21-30, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he's another guy that he's going to have some good matchup coming up here. They're going to face the Tennessee Titans, ranks 8th against the run, and they're one of the worst against the pass, 25th against the pass. So a good matchup if you need to fill in by for one of the major quarterbacks. Kyler Murray, he was actually announced to start this week. I was surprised he didn't start this past week. They made a poor decision on that to start Tune, who didn't really. You can't start. He didn't. He was way overmatched as a rookie. But
What 58 total yards of offense isn't good enough for you, Dave? 58. I think Washington Huskies scored more than that last week against USC.
Exactly. Kyler Murray will be back this week. It was announced he will start. Get him back into your lineups. Activate him off your injury reserve if you have him on there. One of the running backs really like this week, Keaton Mitchell. We talked about him really at the beginning of the year as one of our rookies that we liked. But he is healthy now, finally. He had 2 big runs this past week. 9 carries, 138 yards rushing, and a touchdown. He had a 40-yard touchdown and a 60-yard run as well. So we'll see how that backfield shapes up. That's kind of a mess right now. Justice Hill led the backfield in snaps at 64% and rushing attempts 35%. He ran 35 routes and he played 71% of the snaps. So I don't know. I don't like Justice Hill. He's never really proven himself. He's never really stood out in that backfield. Keaton Mitchell could be the guy going forward, but I still wouldn't start anywhere this week. Gus Edwards did have 2 touchdowns again too this past week, but that's a guy you might want to just pick up and put on your bench for now because for future buys. And then receivers, Demario Douglas. We talked about him a little bit last week, but he is definitely the guy there now. He's the lead guy there with Bourne on the injury reserve. He went for 5 catches for 55 yards this past week. And Quentin Johnson, now that Josh Palmer is out, he's a guy you want to take a look at. He's had an underwhelming rookie season so far, but that could change going forward.
Oh, for sure. I agree with Mitchell too. He's 138 yards on 9 carries and a touchdown.
Just explosive.
He's could be the new Achin. I mean, you don't know that. I mean, he's worth the pickup. Especially if you're dying for running backs or if you need to handcuff Gus Edwards, it's something you need to do. Ty Chandler, I said for the Akers injury, I think he'll get more carries in Minnesota.
I do like that one.
And to be honest with you, Josh Dobbs, man, I mean, I think some people picked him up this week, but now that he's on a better team and a better offense with the Vikings, he could be a better player. And he's a super smart dude. He literally didn't know where anything was and made it happen, asked his players and did what smart people do.
I was impressed, actually. I didn't want the Vikings to win, but I was actually very, very impressed. Like his rushing, how he just found guys, and like how he just like took off and running, and he almost got tackled twice on a 4th down, and he still made the 1st down. I was just like, wow, like he impressed me with his play at that 4th quarter. Definitely, I watched.
It's hard to root against him. He's such a good dude. It seems like, you want to see him succeed after all the teams that traded him and bounced him around, man. I mean, too bad it's on the Tank Vikings, but yeah. Well, of course, Tank Dell and Noah Brown for that Stroud through to. Those guys, especially with Mechie injured, Noah Brown, he's back relevant. I said Ty Cade Otton for Tampa balled out a little bit, so you got to give it up to Cade Otton a bit. Jack Stoll, I think I put for the Goddard injury. I'm gonna lean him, and Quentin Johnson for the Josh Palmer injury probably. I don't know what he did tonight, though. I'm gonna have to look at the stats and see. I think Gerald Everett gets a big bump because he should be owned in most places, but I think just because of the Palmer injury, Gerald Everett. He only got 2 receptions, 18 yards, but there's Quentin Johnson had 3 targets. They just ran the ball a lot and they threw it to Eckler. They didn't even throw it to any of their main guys today.
Well, Keenan Allen had a good game. He had 8 for 77 yards tonight. And Quinn Johnson,
one main guy. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and Quinn Johnson
was Allen, Eckler, Everett, Johnson.
Yep.
So I would still pick up Johnson because there's going to be more games when they're not playing.
Yeah, they're playing some head tonight, so they're just running the ball. But he had 2 catches for 14 yards tonight. Quinn did, but I definitely see him getting more targets going forward, though, for sure.
Oh, definitely. And the Jets tried their last second touchdown attempt and failed, so they're toast. They got smoked 27-6. So Quentin Johnson, that's who I have. Let's go to non-starters trending up for week 10. I'll get started with that. Quarterback Gardner Minshew versus the Patriots has a tasty matchup. The Patriots have been awful since Judon's been hurt. I just think the Patriots are just a team you got to fade and play guys against for the rest of the year. I like Josh Dobbs versus the Saints this week. I mean,
I don't know about that.
Badgett, but Badgett moved the ball, but he threw some interceptions, but he moved the ball on him. He definitely moved the ball on him. So I think Dobbs could do the same. I mean, I'd be scared too. I mean, he's more of a desperation, but he's trending up. Let's just say you have Tua, and he's been, maybe you have Mahomes, and you don't have a lot of other angles to go. There you go. Tight end Sam Laporta with the Chargers looks good. I think he's going to have a good game. Wide receiver Darnell Mooney versus the Panthers is nice, and same with Deontay Foreman versus the Panthers this week. The Bears are favored by 3.5 points against the Panthers. I expect some offense here. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds versus the Chargers also looks good for the Lions. So I think the Lions are going to ball out with Sam Laporta and Josh Reynolds a little bit. Wide receiver Quentin Johnson for the Josh Palmer injury also might do well against the Lions, and he was on my waiver wire. Cowboys defense versus they're playing the Giants. So yeah,
well, everyone's starting the Giants defense. Or, actually, everyone's starting the Cowboys defense right now, though.
You think? Well, they didn't against the Eagles. I don't think you did anyway. You're going to play the defense at the Eagles. I hope not, but maybe.
No, but the Cowboys have one of the top 5 ranked fantasy defenses. Actually, top 3, I think. So you definitely started them.
All right, fine, whatever. Jackson Smith, the Jigba versus the Commanders looks good. The Commanders are a terrible secondary, and if they weren't playing the Patriots, they would have got blown out. You know it is. Let's go to Gabe Davis against the Broncos. I like Gabe Davis this week. I think that this is one of those games that the Bills have to get their heads out of their asses again and just blow the team out. So I like him and Dalton Kincaid this week against the Broncos, Dave. I like Tyler Algier, especially with Cordero Patterson hurt against the Cardinals. I like Algier, possibly get a touchdown or two. And I like Tyler Heineke. He didn't have a greatest game because he threw some picks and fumbled, but he did move the ball well last week, a lot better than the other guy there. So, those are my non-stars trending up. Who are yours?
I definitely like the Bills. I like James Cook. I like the Davis pick for the Bills, and I do like Kincaid as well. He's up and coming. He's almost a borderline starter right now, I think. I do like Zach Wilson against the Raiders. I don't think their defense is still that good. I'm still not sold on their defense. I think Zach Wilson actually has a good game against them this week. I do like that Seahawks. I like the Jackson Smith pick. I do like that a lot, actually, as well. I think Kenny Walker bounces back this week, too, has a good game against Washington with all their defensive linemen that they traded away. I think the Cowboys are going to just roll over the Giants. I like Brandon Cooks this week. He's not a guy you normally start, but I think he could have a big game this week, actually. I think they try to get him a ball a little bit this week, and I think he has a big game. I like the Laporta pick. I think Quinn Johnson, I like those 2 picks for that game. I like Algier. We need Brian Robinson to come around here, too. I like Kyler Murray this week, too, against the Falcons. His first start, but I like him this week. It's a good matchup for Kyler Murray to come back to. I like him this week. I like Baker Mayfield against that poor Tennessee defense like I was talking about before. I like that matchup for them. I hate to say it, but I like Kenny Pickett against the Packers. Packers secondary is banged up. They traded Rasul Douglas away. Some of the rookies stepped up this past week. I was kind of impressed, but that was against Brett Rippon, who I don't put much stock into. So I do like Kenny Pickett this week against them. I do like Joshua Dobbs, too. Him running the ball, I think he can still get some stuff against the Saints. Having a week to prepare as well. I think that's definitely going to help him. I do like that matchup. And I like both, even though this is the worst probably Thursday night football game ever against a 1-7 and 2-7 teams.
Hold on, take it easy.
I do like this matchup for fantasy football wise. I do like Tyson against if he does start this weekend for Fields. Do they have any timeline on when Fields is coming back?
Fields could maybe come back this week, but we still think it'd be Tyson Bagent this week. But it's not. I mean, that could change. So
I still like Tyson
Bagent. I'm gonna say 65% chance Bagent and 35 Fields.
Okay. All right. I still like Tyson Bagent this week again. I do like Bryce Young to have a good game, and Chuba Hubbard I got like against the Bears defense too as well. And I think Mooney has a good game as well. He came around this past week. He actually had a pretty solid game. So I like Mooney to have a good game this week as well.
Awesome. Good stuff. Let's move on to our bust, Dave. Who's the boss of Week 10?
All right. Well, I'm gonna actually the guy who just had an MVP like game. I think CJ Stroud. The Bengals defense is a good defense, actually. I do not think he puts up another huge monster game like he just did. I think he throws a couple picks and then he actually disappoints a few people this week. I think he's one of my busts this week, actually. I don't
From
like
high to
Trevor
low,
Lawrence.
from low to high. That's how it is sometimes.
It is. That's what I'm telling you. I'm calling it right now. I do not like Trevor Lawrence against that Frisco D. A week of rest and a week to prepare. I think Trevor Lawrence struggles a little bit against the San Francisco defense. I do not like Jordan Love against that tough Steelers D. Even though he's my boy on the Packers, I just don't like that matchup for him this week, especially with those young receivers dropping balls for him all the time. I do not like that matchup. I do not like anyone on the Giants. Saquon Barkley is maybe the only guy you're starting, but even him I don't like because they're going to just tee off on the run. They're not going to really play the pass that much. So I'm down going in Saquon and every Giants player on offense essentially this week. And I'm downgrading Sam Howell. Seahawks D, they're middle of the road, I think, defense, but Sam Howell, I think I'm downgrading him just a little bit this week. Seahawks, I think, will step up. They're playing at Seattle, too, so I don't like that matchup. Downgrading the Broncos this week, too, against the Bills. I think the Bills play well, and they're playing at Buffalo, so I don't like Russell Wilson this week either.
All right, good stuff. So I have a few, and I agree with a lot of those. Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to add Travis Etienne right in there against the 49ers D. I will say that Trevor Lawrence does get rid of the ball fast, so if he can do that, maybe he can make something happen. But now they got Chase Young on the side, and
that's ridiculous. Now
it is scary. Bosa and Young. Oh my God, two Ohio State guys just swarming at you, brutal. Saquon Barkley and anyone on the Giants, buddy. Anyone on the Giants probably should never be started for the rest of the season. Sorry, it's that bad. It's that bad. Sam Howell versus Seattle is suspect. Gus Edwards versus Cleveland is bad, and Kareem Hunt versus Baltimore is bad. I think.
I didn't think of that one. Yeah, I like the Hunt one.
Yep, and I normally like Hunt, but it could be a really ugly game. I don't like a lot of players on the sides. You can throw in Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. I would have to start, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's held to less points. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell versus the Jets might suffer a little bit too this week from the Raiders and Josh Jacobs. I think the Jets are probably they have a good defense still. And so, those are through my bus. I mean, the fact that the Eagles D is not playing, the Rams D, or the Chiefs D is not playing, the Dolphins D is pretty good. It kind of curbed my bus a little bit more, Dave, I would say. But that brings us to our nasty sleeper. And why don't you start? Who's your nasty sleeper?
All right. Well, the guy I've been hyping up the last couple of weeks, I have to almost make him my D-Nasty sleeper. I'm going with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is my D-Nasty sleeper of the week against the Tennessee Titans, 25th ranked pass defense. He's going to bring home a fantasy win for you this week.
Oh, Baker. We'll see. I'm not high on Baker. Nasty sleeper is Drake London for me versus the Cardinals.
He was injured last week. Is he healthy though?
I think he's going to be healthy this week.
I think so too.
I think it was a 1 week injury, but I see him playing the Cardinals. I mean, if not, I'll switch him to Jonnu Smith because I like Jonnu Smith too. He's been balling out a lot more than Kyle Pitts this year. Jonnu Smith's actually the main guy. I don't know what happened to Kyle Pitts, but Jonnu Smith seems to be the main tight end over at Atlanta. So I like them both. Drake London doesn't play, go with Johnny, but that is my nasty sleeper, Dave. Anything we miss?
No, I like it. Thursday night football game, probably borderline not watchable.
Yeah, borderline not watchable, but Bears fans will be watching anyway. And fantasy degenerates like yourself will be watching it.
Yes, we will. And that's actually a sweet fantasy matchup with two bad defenses. So hopefully it will be a high scoring and it will be a fun game to watch fantasy wise.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this podcast, watching this show. If you have any questions for us, feel free to tweet us at The Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Enjoy the rest of your week and go get some winners.
Boom.